What's going on, guys? This is Mikeinoid, and today we are going to talk about Skylanders Superchargers. Of course, this year I'm going back and playing all of the Skylander games and talking about them. Spiral's Adventure was covered in March, Giants in April, SWAT Force in May, and Trap Team was last month, which brings our attention to the 5th game in the franchise, Skylanders Superchargers. So I couldn't find anything specific on how well Skylanders Trap Team sold, but in terms of the toys, Skylanders was still doing well despite the amount of competition there was. As of February 2015, the Skylander series achieved $3 billion in sales and sold 250 million toys. So of course, with that kind of success, Activision wanted to continue to make more money off of this series. So a new game for 2015 was in the works. It was rumored before the announcement that a Skylanders game that featured vehicles was going to be the next gimmick of the game, and there was some mixed reaction. Skylanders Nuts and Bolts? Nah, Skylanders Superchargers. Skylanders Superchargers feature vehicles that are paired with their respected drivers, the Superchargers. The Superchargers are the only type of Skylanders in this game. There are no new core figures, no Lycor, no Trap Masters, Giant, SWAT Force, nothing. Honestly, they just kind of work as core figures if you think about it, since they're the only Skylanders of the game. They are about the same size as core Skylanders and are smaller than the Giants, SWAT Force figures, and Trap Masters. The biggest difference of Superchargers are the bases. I really like the engine bases and their elements surrounding it, but it is pretty sad that they got rid of the color bases. Over half of the Superchargers are brand new characters, while 8 of them are returning Skylanders but have updated movesets to make them feel new, but still have the same personalities. Activision must have really loved Gilgrunt, since this guy has gotten figures in almost every game. There are 20 Superchargers in total, light and dark getting the least amount of figures once again. Since there aren't any types of other figures, the game doesn't have any areas or gates that can only be accessed by certain Skylanders. Any additional areas or gates can be unlocked through the Superchargers vehicles. Like Skylanders, vehicles have elements. Each vehicle also has one of the 3 terrain types: land, sea, or sky. Fire, earth, undead, and tech elements are land vehicles. Air, life, and light elements are sky vehicles, and water, magic, and dark elements are sea vehicles. Vehicles are a big milestone for the Skylander series, since they are the first and only figures to have movable parts. Not all of them have movable parts, specifically some of the sea and sky vehicles, but for the most part, you have rolling wheels, spinning gears and blades, movable fins, and even flappable wings. Honestly, these vehicles are pretty cool. I would have gone crazy over them if these came out when I was a kid. Vehicles are the same size as the Superchargers, so you can't put them inside the vehicles, which makes sense. Skylanders would have need to be smaller, or the vehicles needed to be bigger, which wouldn't be too practical. So keeping both figures the same size was the best move, in my opinion. Since each Supercharger has a vehicle, there are also 20 vehicles in total. Alongside Superchargers, we got 6 new Eon Elite figures. Dinorang, Slam Bam, Boomer, Zook, Ghost Roaster, and Voodoo were packaged in a display case with a holographic background and were 3 times more powerful than regular Skylanders. Not only did they have a fresh coat of metallic paint, their figures were updated with powerful looking weapons, which makes them even cooler. Let me give a quick shout out to Sunburn, who is the only Spiral's Adventure Skylander to not get another figure. So if we tally up the figures, we have 20 Superchargers, 20 vehicles, and 6 Eon's Elite figures, making it a total of 46 figures. And if we add up the 14 color variant Superchargers, the 12 color variant vehicles, and the 4 trophies, which we'll talk more about later, the grand total comes out to 76 figures. That's way less than Trap Team's total, my god. So Superchargers cost $13 and vehicles cost $16 by themselves. I managed to get my hands on a brand new thump truck so we can see what we get if we bought this back in the day. You pretty much just get the figure and the sticker sheet. There's a reason why Skylander figures no longer came with a stat card, which we'll talk about later. Skylanders Superchargers had adventure packs, or at least something equivalent to them, the Supercharged action packs. There are 3 different action packs, each of them including a supercharger, a vehicle, and a racing trophy. These racing trophies unlock new racing courses and allow you to fight villains that you can capture and play as in these courses. We'll talk more about the racing part when we talk about the game, but these trophies are essential if you want to play all the tracks. So what starter packs are available for Superchargers? Skylanders Superchargers came out for the Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, Wii U, and iOS devices. The Wii and the 3DS got a version called Skylanders Superchargers Racing, which we'll talk about later. The standard starter packs for non-Nintendo consoles came with Spitfire, Super Shot Stealth Elf, Hot Streak, the game, the poster, stickers, the brand new Portal of Power, and a pack of 2 cards for Skylanders Battle Kass. This is the final portal they would make for Skylanders. As you can see, you have the engine where you put in your trap, and the base looks like pavement, which fits the vehicle theme really nicely. I really like this portal, however, it's personally not my favorite. What can I say? I'm a fan of the light shows that the other portals put on. It would have been cool if they made the flames light up at least. So Superchargers starter packs came with 2 cards from the brand new mobile game Skylanders Battle Kass. This mobile game brought cards to life. You were able to use your phone's camera to scan in your cards using the trading shield that you can use in the game. No matter which starter pack you got, you always got Spitfire and Stealth Elf. So if you wanted more cards, you needed to buy booster packs and decks. So if you guys have been keeping up with the previous videos of Skylanders that I've been putting out, you know I never really talked about the stat cards that came with each Skylander. That's because they really didn't do much. I mean, they look cool and all, and they were another way to keep track of your Skylander collection, but that was about it. With Skylanders Battle Kass cards, you can play a Skylanders themed card game. I wish they went further with Battle Kass and included character cards with Skylanders alongside the sticker sheet. That probably would have got more people into the game. Like, I know you didn't need the cards to play the mobile game, but I mean, it's still nice to have these physical cards that you can collect and trade. By the way, the app shut down a few years ago, but you can still play the game with the actual cards if you manage to find the official rules. I mean, seriously, does anyone know where to find the rules to play this game? I really want to know. Please let me know in the comments. Dark Edition starter packs made a return. You get dark versions of Spitfire, Stealth Elf, Hot Streak, and Sea Shadow, which isn't Stealth Elf's vehicle. And you get the Chaos trophy, which allows you to play as Chaos instantly in Sky Races. Of course, they released this trophy a few months later by itself, so you didn't need to get the starter pack. The Wii U had a slightly different starter pack than the other console versions, as this is when the Skylanders experience will be split from here on out, depending on what console you play Skylanders on. Activision and Nintendo partnered up to bring 2 popular Nintendo characters to the world of Skylands, Donkey Kong and Bowser.
Bowser is always my favorite. I don't know why people say that I look like Bowser.
So Donkey Kong and Bowser have become Skylanders, and if you're confused on how that happened, you can read this comic. Both of these characters have their own vehicles, which by the way also makes them the only Skylanders that don't have matching elements. DK is a life Skylander with a tech land vehicle, and Bowser is a fire Skylander with an air sky vehicle. These figures also work as amiibo by turning their bases to switch between modes. So it's pretty cool that you can use these figures in Skylanders and then switch over to Smash Bros and use them as amiibo fighters. Since these are Nintendo characters and Nintendo is very protective of their IPs and like to keep their characters on Nintendo devices, well, usually, Turbocharged Donkey Kong, Hammer Slam Bowser, and their vehicles Barrel Blaster and Clown Cruiser can only be played on Nintendo consoles. If you try to play them on other consoles, you would get an error message that told you to go get a Wii U, you loser. Now don't get me wrong, Donkey Kong and Bowser are very cool to play as in this game, but I can understand why players would be upset by not being able to play as every character. From this point on, you need to ask yourself, do I want better graphics, or do I want to be able to play as every Skylander? At first, it was okay since Donkey Kong was available only in the Wii U starter pack, and Bowser was available in the Wii and 3DS starter packs, but then they released them separately, so it's possible that someone bought these thinking they would work on an Xbox or PlayStation. I know the packaging makes it clear that these figures only work on Nintendo systems, but some people don't read, man. The Wii U also had a Dark Edition starter pack with dark versions of Donkey Kong and Barrel Blaster instead of Stealth Elf and Sea Shadow. And finally, the mobile starter pack comes with the Bluetooth portal and controller alongside Spitfire, Hot Streak, and Stealth Elf. The main difference with this starter pack than Trap Team starter pack is that you were able to play Superchargers on compatible iPhones, iPods, or iPads instead of any tablet to play Trap Team. I mean, it doesn't matter anyways, you can't play Superchargers on iOS devices anymore since their server shut down. So if you want to play on the go, you have to play on PlayStation using Remote Play. So if you've been playing Skylander games every year when they have came out, you probably own a bunch of portals by now. Well, good news is that Skylanders Superchargers was made available digitally. All you need was a portal of your choice and you're set. Instant Spitfire and Instant Hot Streak was made available for you if you didn't have any figures yet, which is actually pretty cool. If you were using a portal from Spyro's Adventure or Giants, you wouldn't be able to use Swap Force figures since portals have been updated since the third game to support them. Bro, it's 2021. Why is this game going for $50 still? So let's talk about the game. I never completed Superchargers when it first came out, but that's okay. Nightmare mode is available to you, regardless. Don't ask me why, Superchargers was the only game that made Nightmare mode available out of the gate. Normally, you're greeted by Eon at the beginning of the game.
Not this time. It never happened.
Chaos has gone completely insane and is just sucking up Skylands using the Sky Eater that's powered by the darkness. This is probably the best story of the entire franchise. You feel an urgency to stop Chaos as soon as possible, and for a moment, you feel defeated when the Sky Eater attacks the Skylander Academy, destroys the Core of Light, and nearly kills Glumshanks. The darkness is the true villain of the game, and it's the reason why Superchargers is the only game where Chaos isn't the final boss. In fact, Chaos gets actual character development. Oh my god, I actually give a now. There's also a few good callbacks to the previous games like the Core of Light from Spyro's Adventure, the Darkness asking Chaos to say hi to his mother for him, and even the actual figures themselves.
Are you a fire, water, air, earth, life, undead, tech, magic, light, dark, legendary, giant, swap force, trap team, or are you an elite?
There's not many new main characters in this game, but the biggest one has to be Pandagast. Pandagast is in charge of the racing mode of Superchargers and even has a few parts in the main story. You can go talk to him to race in the main hub of the game, the Skylander Academy. Here you're able to upgrade your Skylanders and vehicles, go to test areas for each type of vehicle, use a Greeble dispenser to test out your Skylanders moves, decorate the place using legendary treasures, buy hats, use a wishing well, take on the vehicle elemental gates, and try challenges from Operative 11-3/5. The vehicle elemental gates, there are 10 of them, one for each element, and completing them will earn you experience and hats. You can talk to Griezo to change the gate to the element of the vehicle you currently have on your portal, or you can just find each gate in the levels. Operative 11-3/5 is in charge of giving you challenges for each supercharged pair of Skylanders and their vehicles. It's just another reason to get you to buy the Skylander and vehicles. But hey, it's extra content. So this game has by far the most chapters out of any Skylander games, reaching a total of 52 chapters. The reason it's a big number is because each area has like 3 or 4 chapters within them. Even some chapters take place in Skylanders Skylanders Academy. There's really like 13 areas in total to explore. Since the levels were designed by Vicarious Visions, the levels are over an hour to explore. I mean, each chapter takes like 5 to 20 minutes to finish, but each area has so much to do, it will take you some time to beat. With that being said, the areas are some of the best areas of the entire franchise. Just to highlight a few areas, Spellpunk Library throws you into the books where you play in 2D platforming levels, and even an arcade shooting style level with a sky vehicle. Gadfly Glade shrinks you down to fight bugs in bottles. Captain Clucks Chicken HQ is just wrong but funny, and Monstrous Isles turns you into a kaiju. As fun as these areas are, I feel that they went a bit overboard with the vehicle areas. The way you get 3 stars now is by completing the 3 vehicle areas. You will always have to do land vehicle areas since the game requires you to at least have one, but sky and sea vehicles are optional. These areas are great ways to play with vehicles, collect gear bits, and earn upgrade parts for each of them, but most of them, if not all of them, overstay their welcome. I mean, the levels are already long enough as it is, but having to go through each of these areas just gets tedious. These would have been a lot better if they were shorter, but overall, I like them. You also have gates you can find in each level that takes you to some sort of puzzle or challenge you can complete to earn rewards. Each area has chests, piñatas, and presents that could contain gold, experience, stardust, and even hats. Stardust is used to help your Portal Master rank grow, along with earning stars from each level. This is one of my favorite Portal Master rank systems of the series. Not only is it easy to rank up, but you're able to choose power-ups that will best help you in the game. There are also some power-ups that benefit you when you are playing in Nightmare mode like I was, so this Portal Master rank was very helpful. The reward objects that I just mentioned are not required to complete a level, but the spin chests are. Also, you're able to find soul gems, winged sapphires, story scrolls, legendary treasures, and wishing stones. The wishing stones are used to obtain more hats, which is cool. Like every Skylander game, you have enemies to fight and puzzles to solve in order to progress. The lock puzzle in this game uses a gremlin, except now he is in a little car. And hey, you can do 2 players, which is pretty cool. Sky Stones makes a return. It pretty much works like the last Sky Stones game from Trap Team, only this time you can charge up your Superchargers card for a special move. I personally didn't stop and play these. They weren't required to do, and they would have taken me much longer to complete the levels, but it's pretty fun. So that's pretty much the story gameplay. Let's talk about the racing side. So you can access the racing mode from the main menu or the Skylander Academy. There are a few different options here. You can do online races, single races, time trials, boss pursuits, supervillain, and mirror cups. Can't really do online races since there's no one to beat, but the rest is still possible. Single races are straightforward. You can race against CPUs and another player in a racetrack of your choice. You only have access to 2 racetracks of each vehicle type, so to unlock the other tracks, you need the trophies. Speaking of the trophies, you need them to race against the villains and capture them. You also need them to compete in the Supervillain Cups, which puts you in a series of 4 races against the villains, and once you beat a cup, you will be able to take on mirror cups. So basically what I'm saying is, you can't do without these trophies, which makes things a bit complicated when the land trophy costs more than $50. You will need Skylanders and vehicles to play these tracks, but you are able to at least do land tracks without any figures since the game gives you instant Spitfire and Hot Streak. And if you need help during races, you can equip boosts beforehand that you can buy with your gear bits. So overall, I like the racing aspect of the game. While I don't think it's as polished as a Mario Kart game and tracks are behind a paywall, each track is well designed and offers a good challenge when you want to take a break from the main story. You are still able to play the main story with another player. You can play together in races like I mentioned earlier, but what's weird though is only one vehicle can be on the portal at once in the story mode, which means the 2 players will share the vehicle. One will drive and one will control the weapons. I mean, yeah, you can easily switch controls between the 2 of you, but it would have been a lot more fun if both of you were able to control your own vehicles. Definitely a missed opportunity in my opinion. I don't don't care if the portal is too small, man. I just want to be able to use both vehicles. There's really no reason not to play with a supercharged combo. Your Skylander gets extra health when they're paired with their vehicle, so the game doesn't give you any reason to mix and match combinations, which limits you to switch out your vehicle when choosing a different supercharger Skylander. Or at least that's how I felt. Once again, the level cap for Skylanders remains at 20. You are still able to equip hats, check out their upgrades, stats, and toy code, and give them nicknames, change ownership, and reset them. You are able to view your vehicle stats and change your ownership as well. Buzz gives you specific quests for each Skylander and vehicle to improve their stats, which is great. And finally, the soul gems you find in the levels are for the Supercharger Skylanders. Skylander figures no longer have color bases. The way you tell if it belongs to Superchargers is by the engine base. All Skylanders from Spyro's Adventure, Giants, Swap Force, and Trap Team all work. Traps, however, now work differently. Putting a trap in the portal will allow you to use it as a weapon boost for a short while. And if there is a villain inside, you get their Sky Stone. Magic items no longer work like they did in previous games. When you load them in, they become legendary treasures, which you can use to decorate the academy. Hey, at least they can still do something. I mean, I hardly ever used them before anyways. I managed to get 17 Skylanders and their vehicles, so I definitely have some favors I want to share. Hammer Slam Bowser uses Koopa Troopas to attack and can turn into Magma Bowser. Turbocharged Donkey Kong uses his signature barrels to deal damage to enemies. Plus he brought Diddy Kong with him, which is pretty cool. Stormblade is probably the fastest Skylander I have ever used. Holy shit. Nightfall looks badass and has some great hook and hair attacks. High Vault can use his static spear that can make him move faster and do damage to anyone who walks into his electricity. And Bone Bash Roller Brawl is my favorite returning Skylander. She can use her Fang Blades as melee or ranged attacks, and you can blow kisses to enemies that will recover your health. Now, we have to talk about the other version of this game, Superchargers Racing. Superchargers Racing is available for the Wii and the 3DS, which the starter packs for both include Hammer Slam Bowser, Clown Cruiser, and Stealth Elf. Also, the 3DS version comes with the wireless Swap Force portal. There was also a Dark Edition starter pack, of course, with dark versions of Bowser and the Clown Cruiser. Yeah, there was a total of 3 different Dark Edition starter packs. That's just insane. So Superchargers Racing features a campaign that focuses solely on the racing aspect. Both versions don't look good visually, however, they're not too bad gameplay wise. I actually found some enjoyment out of it. Depending on which difficulty you choose, you can earn up to 3 stars on 3 different types of races, and you can even take on different challenges such as time trials. Now both the Wii and 3DS versions are the same game, but I personally think the 3DS version is my preferred version. Not only can you take the game on the go, but all of your Skylanders and vehicles are saved in the game, so you don't need to be tethered to a portal the whole time. So it kind of sucks that we don't get a platforming style game on the 3DS, but honestly man, it kind of made sense because both the 3DS and the Wii are very underpowered compared to the other consoles, so I guess it saved them a lot of time and money to develop this racing style aspect. So I have to say, this is not a bad game whatsoever. Skylanders Superchargers became one of my favorite games of the series. This might be a little bit controversial, but I actually enjoyed it more than Trap Team. I mean, call me crazy, but it was nice to play a game without running into any game-breaking bugs. Although Superchargers runs into the same issues Swap Force had with hour-long levels and tedious sections within them, I thought the game was enjoyable and the story of the game was so good, it was good enough to see it through to the end. After Chaos helps you defeat the darkness, he agrees to help out the academy until he decides to become evil again. There's a good amount of post-game content to do, including challenges you can take on from the characters at the Skylanders Academy, and play a Skystones game with Chaos to earn his crown. If you want all 3 stars from each level, all you need is a vehicle from each terrain type, which makes completion a bit easier, but you will need a vehicle of each elemental type to go through the elemental gates, and each supercharger combo to take on operative 11 and 3/5 challenges. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know which Skylander is your favorite from Skylanders Superchargers down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Man, 50 bucks for that little trophy, bro. Come on, man. I'm just trying to catch all of the villains.